15 minutes into this film, I was planning in my mind how am I gonna watch it another time. This is Transformers 1, and here's what I thought about it. Transformers as a concept is such a fantastic concept because robots transforming into trucks and jets as well as choppers and race cars. And if executed well, anybody who loves these things even remotely is gonna have a ball of a time. In the last 15-20 years, we've had a host of Transformer films, starting with Shia LaBeouf, then moving on to Mark Wahlberg. Eventually, they all felt very similar and they were very choppy in terms of how they were written and executed. In fact, the best one so far for me was Bumblebee. Really well written, characters were standing out. I really enjoyed that one and I thought that was the best by far. All of these films that I spoke of were live action films, and since 1986 there hasn't actually been an animated theatrical release for Transformers, and Transformers 1 is here to change all of that because it's not just breaking the trend of an animated Transformers film getting into theaters, it is also changing the trend of a brilliant Transformers films hitting the theater. Transformers 1 is the origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron. You see them initially as Orion Pax and D16, and this is how they started off as friends and then eventually become sworn enemies and change the entire fate of their planet and the eternal war that begins between the Autobots and Decepticons. If you are a fan of this franchise, then you're gonna spot old timers like Starscream as well as Shockwave and a bunch of others as well. The story for somebody like me who's been on the fringes and not really a hardcore fan, it was a very fresh take. I really enjoyed the overall treatment as well as writing and the kind of animation that was chosen for this film. All of that was very fresh and extremely enjoyable. Transformers 1 boasts a runtime of under 2 hours, about 100 odd minutes, 105 minutes maybe, and it is a really tightly written script. Right from the beginning, you do not have a loose stone anywhere and it pulls you in. You are engrossed right from the word go. The characters of Orion Pax as well as D16 really want to be with them right through their journey. You also have the delightful Bumblebee as B127 in this film, and he is a riot. He is such a star. His dialogues, his comic timing overall, voiced fabulously by Keegan-Michael Kay. It's such a shame that the character of Bumblebee eventually loses his voice, and does not happen in this film. Oops, is that a spoiler? I am so sorry about that. But yes, he does eventually lose his voice, and we know that from the other Transformers films as well as Bumblebee. But it's unfortunate because if this is what his voice is like and this is how he sounds like and this is his comic timing as well as presence of mind, I would have loved to see him right through the Transformers franchise. No matter what film, I would have loved to see more of Bumblebee. My only complaint, and which is such a smidgen of a complaint, it's not even a complaint actually, it's just something that could have been done better, and I think it was created but maybe edited out, is how D16 aka Megatron is hero worshipping of the Sentinel. I think that really needed to be shown a little more because eventually his reactions as well as his movement to the dark side, we all know it's not really a spoiler. The stark way that he turns to that side is slightly jarring. You get it, and that's also because you know it's gonna happen and you accept it. But if you look at the natural progression of the storytelling and the narrative, it feels a little bit jumpy. Okay, I realize I'm giving a few spoilers here and there and I'm not able to shy away from them or control them like I usually do. So I'm gonna post this with a spoiler warning. The level of animation in Transformers 1 is top notch, but it is also path-breaking at the same time, just like the Spider-Verse films, because it uses the refinement that's allowed by technology today, but not in the most typical way that you would think. It tries to make the animation of Transformers 1 look a lot like the 80s hand-drawn animated series, and that's really the mark of brilliance for Transformers 1 for sure, because the level of texture that you get in this film, in the entire animation that you see, is just beautiful. Hence, everything about Transformers feels believable. It feels like you're actually watching these people live out their life in their own home world, Cybertron, and the action sequences feel so believable. Every action sequence is fantastic, and it's not just the fighting sequences I'm talking about, even the chase sequences. Chris Hemsworth voices Orion Pax, eventually moving into Optimus Prime, and he is fantastic as Orion Pax. You can actually believe that somebody who's voicing Orion Pax will eventually move up to have the voice of Optimus Prime, voiced brilliantly by Peter Cullen. Directed fabulously by Josh Hooley, who's an old hand at Disney, directing films such as Toy Story and actually co-writing the first Inside Out. He does a fabulous job at this, and you really know and see how adept at handling animated films. This film is directed so damn well that you don't find one loose end anywhere in terms of his vision and his clarity of thought. The film also boasts a stellar voice cast. Apart from the ones that I've already mentioned, you also have Scarlett Johansson, John Hamm, and a host of other actors. Tight, extremely well written storyline, delightful characters that you would love from the first scene, an ensemble voice acting cast: Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, John Hamm, and wondrous others. What's there not to like? Go ahead and watch it. It's just under 2 hours, an animated film that will blow your mind. If you are a fan of Transformers, then you can't miss it no matter what. If you are on the borderline and if you've seen 1 or 2 of these Transformer films, the live action ones, and have not been a fan, this is the film that will change your mind for sure. I can bet on it. This is a fantastic film, worthy of watching in the theaters and worthy of watching it in IMAX. If you can't get IMAX, go ahead and watch it in 4DX, but hold on to your popcorn and your drinks, because it's gonna spill all over the place for sure. I watched this in 4DX. The next one that I'm gonna watch is gonna be in IMAX. I'm already planning that out. Go ahead and watch it. Let me know what you thought.